I've come to brief you on a on an event that transpired about on Saturday evening. We understand Saturday regarding a Nigerian diplomat serving in Indonesia. A large number of you would have seen it trending, the video on social media, where he was being restrained by his neck in a moving car. When we saw this, we immediately, in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, contacted the ambassador, our ambassador in Indonesia, who gave us a verbal account of what had transpired and confirmed that the video was indeed of a Nigerian diplomat in Indonesia, and that apparently this took place, this action, illegal action, took place during a roundup by Indonesian immigration officials or search for irregular and illegal migrants in their country. Now, the first thing we did was to request that the ambassador submit to us a full and comprehensive report of what happened, to reach immediately the home ministry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Jakarta, to lodge a formal and a strong complaint against the actions of these immigration officers, because under international law, the Vienna Convention, diplomats and diplomatic premises are inviolable. And this was a clear breach of the Vienna Convention and an act of egregious international delinquency. Now, the following day, or yesterday, we summoned to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs the ambassador of Indonesia to Nigeria, and again complained in the strongest terms regarding what had taken place, totally unacceptable under any circumstances whatsoever. He, of course, communicated the report that he had received from his capital as to what had transpired. And later, yesterday, in the evening, we received a full and comprehensive report from the Nigerian ambassador in Indonesia, which we have studied and reinforces our previous position that there was absolutely no justification whatsoever for this treatment, for this kind of behavior against not only a diplomat, a Nigerian diplomat, but even if it had taken place against any Nigerian citizen, it was totally unacceptable. And so what we have decided to do is to recall for consultations immediately our Nigerian ambassador in Jakarta, in Indonesia, and we will have full consultations at the highest level and decide what next steps to take, including a review, of course, of our relations with Indonesia. We have also requested the Indonesian government to take severe and appropriate sanctions against the immigration officials that were involved in this act of brazen criminality. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and to assure you and through you, the Nigerian public, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is taking all the necessary steps and strong steps too, and assures the Nigerian people that we will rigorously and robustly defend the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians anywhere in the world. And we'll call on you all to remain patient and calm as we get fully to the bottom of this, for our ambassador to arrive and for the consultations to take place. And we assure you that an appropriate response will be forthcoming. He was apparently in the streets, and they came up to him because the Indonesian immigration officials, we understand, around this time that they are going around looking for illegal immigrants. And indeed, the ambassador of Indonesia, when he was here yesterday, confirmed that. And so that's what they were doing. And they apparently they went to him and asked him. They wanted to see his travel documentation to ensure that he had come in to Indonesia legally. And he protested, and he didn't have, unfortunately, it would appear, all his documentation with him. But he indicated that he was, a diplomat, and that he was in a position to prove that. And accompanied, and this was also confirmed by the Nigerian ambassador, accompanied them, or was willing to accompany them to their office, where he was ready to go and to assert that he was a diplomat and immune from prosecution and all that. So that was what happened. So he now got into the car with them and was going with them to their office. Now, at that point, as we understand it, he was left alone. He was not in any way, shackled or anything like that. But at a certain point, he felt that they had passed where he understood their office was, and they should have been going, and they proceeded beyond that. So he panicked and thought this might be a case of kidnap. And so he, apparently, started to shout. And again, this was confirmed by the Nigerian ambassador in the car. And then he had, I think, some instrument or the other he was able to get. And he wanted to attract the attention of passers-by, and was hitting it on the window of the car. And at that point, they now started to restrain him. And I think that was what came out in the video that was circulating. So this is, what was stated by the Indonesian side, and also confirmed by the Nigerian ambassador in his comprehensive report. With regards to the question by the Diplomat magazine, I think that was pretty much the same, along the same lines. Where was he, and what did he do? And then how is it being addressed, I think, was also asked, or how is it going to be addressed. So, the ambassador, the report has now come in, and, clearly there was no justification for what happened. He was a diplomat, credited, and so we are, as I said, when he returns, going to look into that, and also we're looking to see also what the Indonesian government is going to do. We've asked for sanctions, appropriate sanctions against these officials. I was also asked to speak to my counterpart, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. It's absolutely important for us that the Indonesian government accepts, apologizes, and understands that this was totally unacceptable, and that we see that the Indonesian government is going to address it with the absolute seriousness that it deserves. And we, on our side, will be able, during the consultations, to look at all the options that are available to the government, and we will take the appropriate measures. The Guardian raised the issue regarding other Nigerians in Indonesia. There is a large community of Nigerians in Indonesia, and we have a binational commission. We have a mechanism for bilateral cooperation with Indonesia, and the consular aspect of our relations is obviously a very important one, because there are so many Nigerians in Indonesia, and we have been having complaints about some of the treatment of the Nigerians, and it's something we've been engaging very robustly with the Indonesian government about. And again, this is some of the issues that we do have in a number of countries, and Indonesia is no exception, with a large number of Nigerians, a lot of whom are legal and doing well in the country, and a certain number, unfortunately, who are also illegal and irregular, and so our embassy and our mission there is spending a lot of time engaged in trying to address this issue of some of those Nigerians in Indonesia whose stay is not totally regular, and also who might be engaged in activities that are not altogether wholesome. You can see where you're coming from, actually, because obviously if it's somebody who is new and doesn't know that there are these regular, raids and so forth, and how to respond to it, that it could be, because of his being new. So yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, the reality is actually the opposite. It's a diplomat that is actually coming to the end of his time in Indonesia. He's actually finished his tour of duty in Indonesia. The first question regarding whether the decision that we will take regarding relations with Indonesia is dependent on what is decided on during the consultations after the ambassador has returned. Yes, the two are obviously linked. When we called the ambassador back for consultations, and those consultations be wider than the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It'll be at the highest level of government, and we will then decide when we have all the elements, and other actors beyond Ministry of Foreign Affairs are also involved. So it will be an all of government decision with regards to how we go forward with relations with Indonesia. Then there was a question about Bali, and I think that's slightly not totally related to the issue that we are discussing here, but the MC can actually maybe give us some information regarding that, since that's actually within his purview. Then News Central was asking, what point do these authorities need to contact the mission in the various countries, or presumably, or these Nigerians need to contact the mission? They absolutely do. What we ask all Nigerians, that whenever they go to a foreign country, their first port of call should be the Nigerian embassy or a high commission or whatever, to register themselves. Unfortunately, a large number of Nigerians do not do that. In fact, they actually do not even want the mission and embassies to know anything about them or where they are. And it's only when there's an issue, we see something in the social media, or they get into trouble, then they come, running to the embassies. So this is unfortunately what happens. But the ideal situation, and what we urge all Nigerians, whenever you go to a foreign country, please report to the embassy. Register with the embassy so they know where you are, your contact information, and can give you whatever support services you need. And of course,
other nationals that also claim a Nigerian passport.
Absolutely. So go ahead. Yeah. I mean, as the Honourable Minister has also pointed out, which is a fact, that you have a lot of people in a lot of these countries that claim to be Nigerians, or have Nigerian passports illegally, and we have to deal with this very often. The embassies have to deal with this very often on the issues of deportation. When some of them are being deported and returns, and you find out that that a lot of them are not Nigerians, and that's where our embassies very often intervene to reject some of the deportees being sent to Nigeria, because it's clear that they are not Nigerians. So I think that has
one more question there. Is your question attended to?
Sorry.
Can you repeat it, please? Maybe you break down so I can hear you.
Okay.
Incident or
yeah. Sorry. Yes, I forgot. Yeah. Not to my knowledge. You see, because diplomats have immunity, and so these kinds of things should not normally do. Countries respect that. That if somebody shows that they are a diplomat, that they are sovereign, as it were. They're representing their countries, and so we have not had anything like this to my recollection. But of course, what has happened, I know, is that sometimes diplomats, especially with speeding, or there have been some cases where they have run afoul of the laws of the country, and the police have been called in, and so forth. But of course, the police cannot take any action against the diplomats. They can only make formal complaints. So ordinarily, if every country respects a treaty, the Vienna Convention, that they are all signatories to, they will diplomats, premises, and the physical being are untouchable, inviolable by any country in which they are accredited. Thank you.